Hello everyone. I trust that your initial visit to the early church was an effective learning experience. We spent much of Unit 1 discussing persecution and martyrdom, attacks on Christians from outside the church. I hope that you made the connection that persecution continues against our brothers and sisters around the world today, and we need to be in prayer regularly for them. But in Unit 2, we look at attacks on the church from within, heretics that introduced false teachings. And there is a connection between the heresies of the early church and many cults today. For example, Gnosticism and Mormonism, or Scientology, or the New Age movement. Modalism finds its expression in oneness Pentecostalism. And Jehovah's Witnesses consider themselves to be modern extensions of the ancient Arianism. You know, Satan is not creative. He simply repackages his lies and sells them to new generations. And so we need to learn from the early church fathers who have led the way in the fight for faith known as polemics. The early church fought against heresies in three ways: canon, creeds, and apostolic succession. After Constantine's conversion, however legitimate that was, the church faced an unexpected and largely unseen challenge: the union of church and state. Before Constantine, the church functioned outside the government, often illegally, often persecuted, but they not only survived, but thrived. And they did so through evangelism and missions, persuasiveness and generosity, a grassroots movement that was amazingly effective. After Constantine, the church enjoyed favored status. Persecution ended, but the persecuted church became the persecutors, and the church lost much of its purity and vigor. So the union of church and state impacted Christianity for centuries, right up until today. There were a number of reactions to the union of church and state, including monasticism. This is such an important event in the early church that we consider it a turning point. And before this period, we refer to the early church as ante-Nicene, or before the Council of Nicaea, or post-Nicene, after the Council of Nicaea. And so the Council of Nicaea is the next lecture, and there we will talk about the challenge of Arius to the full deity of Christ, and we'll study Athanasius' defense of orthodoxy, the beginning of centuries of controversy over the nature and work of Christ, and the impact of Christology on our understanding of salvation will be important in our study of Unit 2. During Unit 2, we discuss some of the formative issues, not only for the early church, but for our church today. I trust that you will give it your full attention, so let's get started.